Hey, 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 good morning, good evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And we are connecting again from two totally different countries. Today, my guest is in Canada. I'm in Belgium, so how lovely it is, this internet connection that we can talk to people as if we are in the same room. My guest from today is, like I said, she is in Canada, and she loves hiking, she loves photography. She has two children that are already grown up, and she and her husband are both entrepreneurs, and they gave that passion to one of their children. So I'm really curious to hear about this. She has her own company in HR, and she's focusing on the health and well-being in the companies, and I find that topic really very interesting. So I'm going to add her to the stream so she can tell us all about that. Let me see. Hi, Pamela. Welcome.
Hey, Monique, thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody.
I'm so happy to have you because, like I said before we started this live, is that I have talked to a lot of ladypreneurs over the last 18 months, and of all trades, online, offline. And you have a very special kind of business, because that is not something that you hear a lot of. That you are specialized in HR for companies, but in that specialization, there's another specialty, and that is being in health and wellness. So really about the employees in that business. How did where did that choice come from?
I worked in the corporate world for about 22 years, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really where I learned and I grew up and I discovered through all the teachings, and I had amazing mentors in that time. And when I left that field, I really wanted to embrace the mental wellness, the physical wellness. When employees are healthy and happy, they're much more effective and efficient. Your business runs better. Your profits come in better. CEOs are happier. CEOs and the leadership as well are in a healthy place, it just makes perfect sense, right? And then it supports the well-being and the health of the company as a whole. So it was very progressive, and we do work with progressive organizations because it's different, right? It's not just that traditional HR philosophy of somebody sitting at a desk writing up documentation. We do all of those things, but we really focus on people first.
But is that something that, because I have a lot of questions, and I fell a little bit in the middle of the story, so we are getting back to that later. But is that something that is developed through something that happened, or that you noticed when you were working in corporate? There was a lack of that specialty in corporate.
For sure, for sure.
I don't hear you anymore. I hope it's a little yeah. Sorry, can you say it again, because I didn't hear you anymore?
Oh, sure. When you become larger in an organization, you lose a little bit of that human feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So getting back to that is vital. I feel I have a huge love and passion for humans and
Mm-hmm.
success, and I believe that we're incredibly powerful. We're incredibly resilient, and helping people discover that's really that's what my purpose is.
And but is that a feeling that you already had in corporate? Did you see that in among colleagues of you, that there was that maybe people, how do I say it, that there was more burnout because there wasn't enough attention for those things, or maybe people weren't free enough to talk about that, because sometimes you don't feel well and you can talk to somebody, but if you can't, that can also be a reason in a company. Is that?
I don't want to be presumptuous when I say this, but as a leader, I always was able to tap into this. So when I did see that within my own team, and at any given point, I'd have, somewhere between 100 to 150 people that I was personally responsible for, that that's how I connected with them. And I knew it was different.
Mm-hmm.
it attributed to a lot of the success that I had in that corporate field.
Ah,
So
okay.
it was a natural for me, and again, because I had really good mentors throughout my life, teaching me that in a professional aspect, but it
Mhm.
wasn't the norm for sure. It just wasn't the norm in any organization. So it really allowed me, when I started this HR firm, to give this to multiple industries.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it's so very important. But have you always had that pull to become an entrepreneur before? Were you always entrepreneurial? Where
Yeah.
did that step come from?
And that's an interesting conversation, right? Like we can have those conversations forever. Whether an entrepreneur is created or if they're born. And I really think it's just in our DNA. I think we're born to be an entrepreneur. And excuse me, we may work for people, um, but even that entrepreneur, if you're working for someone else, you're still in that leadership role. I think it's just a natural progression, and then if you find that power within yourself, you can just break out on your own. So yes, ever since I can remember, I was very much, that was in my cells to
That
be.
was,
Yeah.
and have you been in other kind of businesses before you started this one? I don't know what is happening, but I don't know if it's my internet or your.
I'm not for a moment though. Yeah, nothing came up on my screen to
Okay.
tell me.
Yeah, you're no, you're back. I say before you were in corporate, you say entrepreneurship is in your DNA. I agree with that. But did you do other entrepreneurial job already when you were a child, or maybe in high school? Were there things that you were already selling or doing that that showed, okay, she one day she will have her own business?
Right. I look back at that and I just always kind of slid into that leadership role. I was always the one who took charge. And when I took charge, it was more so on people and
Okay.
taking care of people and being, that servant leadership is just, I'm very, very fortunate. My mom and dad were very much the same way. So that servant leadership was just a natural, again, natural progression for me.
Okay. And you told me that your husband, he is an entrepreneur too. Are you in the same company, or is he doing something totally different?
Totally different companies. Yes, he's in the energy sector, so he works in green energy, and but my company is very helpful to his, obviously with the people aspect. But yeah, two different companies altogether. And then my daughter owns her own editing company, and she's
Wow.
also an actor. So we all have different passions, but they all come together beautifully.
Oh yes, I think you can work together very, very well. So, when did you know that it was time to quit corporate and to start your own business? How did that work? Was it a whole journey, or was it one day you said, "Okay, now it's the time"?
So actually, I would have to say I was with corporate for about 22 years. And I always refer to it as my 22-year love affair. I had a great, great experience with it. Was a global organization. They treated me very, very kind and very well. So what was happening is they were promoting me and giving me more responsibility, which normally would be a great thing, and I would normally welcome it. But I was already traveling so much and I was away from my family so much at that time. And this promotion would make me be away even more.
Hmm.
So I graciously declined. And so when I declined, obviously, then they didn't have the position for me. They were going to give it to someone else, justly so. And I'm a big believer that, when you've done all that you can do, you need to pass that torch on to somebody else. It's now somebody else's turn to step in. So I retired at 49. Board, So incredibly bored that I went, well, what am I going to do with myself? Because my children were grown. And I thought, I'm just going to start my own company.
Oh,
And human resources is always a passion of mine. I felt that I had something to bring to the table for other corporations, for other businesses, small, medium, or large. And my vision just fell together. Like, it was honestly that simple. And it's not work when you love what you do, right?
that's
So,
perfect.
yeah.
And are you working alone, or do you have a team now? Are you working with other
It's
people?
I have a team of, I have a few contractors on board as well. So I have a team of about five of us right now, and we're continue to grow. And some of us work remotely, and some of them work in the office with me. So, uh, and all of those people are experts in their field. So I have a health and wellness director that she comes in and she does breath work, she does yoga, she does fitness, she does nutrition. I work primarily with CEOs and the teams as far as communication, mental health, um, making sure that you're a good employer and a good employee, and that you're growing and you're being successful. And then I have a diversity director. So he works primarily in the diversity of your company and teaching individuals within a company. I have a marketing expert. I have a business development, and we just brought on a safety officer to support in compliance.
Ah, wow. Yeah,
Clients. Yeah,
the bigger companies get, the more they need that. So they getting they're becoming bigger targets. That's unfortunately so. So
right.
and how long ago did you start this company, if I may ask?
5 years. 5 years ago.
5 years, and you already have such a big team, and it grew so fast in the meter. How do you find your customers? Because this is not an online business. This is really you go to companies. How are you building your company?
So I'm very fortunate in word of mouth. There's a lot to be said about reputation, and I haven't had to do any extensive marketing or promoting that way. That is a lot of word of mouth of people having interaction with us. I'm quite well known in the community I live in because I do also, I'm a founder of a charity. So I'm just known to be very people orientated and for rising people up. So I take a lot of pride in that, in my communication skills and supporting. Oh, did we lose each other again?
Yes, yes. I
Yeah,
don't know what to say. Are you on Wi-Fi? Is it the Wi-Fi connection? Maybe I don't know because
sure. I'm
I
I'm
don't.
showing okay, Monique, on my side.
Okay, I have no idea. I'm not
Maybe
on
we just have
Wi-Fi.
too much great energy and that the internet can't handle it.
Yes, I think that must be the thing. So you were talking that you are in the well known in the community. You are also you have a charity. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that charity, because that is a big passion of you?
Very, very passionate about my charity. We're going to be celebrating our 20th year this month. And
Wow.
it was founded in memorial of my brother who had passed away, who was transgender, and he was murdered in Montreal. So he was homeless most of his life, struggled most of his life. And through that, I always believe in adversity. You can find something positive out of that, and you can do something uh, moving forward with that. As you know, I've just been part of the Victim to Victory book, and I
Yeah.
speak about that. Like, we do have that choice. So I felt that I could keep my brother's name moving on in a very positive light. So what that looks like for my charity is we support homelessness, vulnerable citizens, mental health. Um, Obviously, through the pandemic that we suffered at a global scale, we were awarded some money from the government to support our entrepreneurs, their families, and their children here locally for
Mm-hmm.
for mental health. So nobody had to pay for that mental health support, and they were able to talk to psychologists and get those resources. I have an amazing partner that helped me through that. That allowed also um, for, because he is a mental health expert, to come in and teach people healthy techniques and healthy steps moving forward. And then that again falls back into Key Instincts, which is my HR firm, where we're teaching people all the time, your mental health needs to be a priority.
Yeah.
And that was what I got out of the pandemic, is it allowed us to really focus on our mental health,
Yeah.
and not be ashamed and say, you know what, it's okay not to be okay, but what are we going to do about that?
Mm-hmm.
What are those
Yeah.
healthy techniques moving forward? So I could go on forever about that, Monique. I'm very passionate about mental health and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. That self-care is vital. In order
Yeah.
to help somebody else, you have to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah, that is so true. You know, I am sure you know Jim Rohn, or who he was. He
Mhm.
always said, you have to put on your mask first, because otherwise you cannot help. And that is so true, because I think also the pandemic, there came a lot of good things out of there. But for me, one of the things that hit me during the pandemic, especially now, a year ago, something like that, is the mental health for those young, not the really small children, but those 14, 15 until 18, 19 years old. It's the age that they are going to develop. They become young adults. They become adult, and they have been captivated. They have been in their house, and so on. And that is something that I am worried about, what is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. We already talked about those 5 to 10 years, but in another setting. Is that also something that you saw in growing? Because here, for example, the calls to the self kill phone, we have an organization that people can call. It was exponential, how many calls, how that grew. Have you sensed that this also in your organization, but also outside of that how people are, yeah, maybe getting more anxious, or more afraid about everything that is happening?
For sure. Yeah. And absolutely. The suicide rate was so huge, and unfortunately continues to be on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic may have ended, but the result from it has not. And I think, we need to be very aware of that. We're rebuilding at a global scale right now, and where we need to start, like economically and all of those things, but where we really need to concentrate um, is within ourselves and our
Yeah.
mental health, and make sure that our care for and checking in on each other and all of those things
Yeah.
too, right? So it's so vital. So I see that in our charity, because we're still very, very in depth with that mental health aspect, making
Mm-hmm.
sure people are okay. And then also in the HR firm, there's still the struggle. You cannot isolate us as human beings for an extended period of time. We're social creatures,
Yeah.
and we can't be isolated and then turn around and turn the light back on and everything's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
There's an effect. And I don't care who you are, or if you're um, introverted or extroverted, it doesn't matter. We need that connection. We need that energy, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're still, like you said, 5 to 10 years. We're suffering a consequence, and we
Yeah.
need to be very attentive to each other and kind, really, really kind and compassionate to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I said before we started talking on live, we had a conversation yesterday at the work where I was yesterday, and one of the girls said, we were also talking about health and well-being in a company, in a team, working with a team, being in an office with cubicles and so on, so many people together. yet so many people are alone. And one of the things, one of the guys said, maybe we should talk more to each other, to get to know each other more, because everybody's getting back to the office now, but they were inside for almost 2 years. And they said, okay, it's like every day is check-in time. Normally it was a Monday. How was the weekend? Now it's every day. Those are the things that changed. But people also react differently than before the pandemic. And one of the girls said, we have to be kinder. And I said, yeah, you're so right. It's such a simple thing when somebody says, okay, you talk too loud, I can't concentrate. It's not only the way that somebody says it, but also the way you receive it. It's not always an insult or an attack. It can also be just I don't know how to deal. It is a different situation. Is that something that you are also focusing on, the way how people interact with each other, talk to each other?
Yes, for sure. And that's a big part of what we do is that communication
Hmm.
aspect within organizations, and just learning to, for some people, relearning. And also the workplace is changing, right? So baby
Hmm.
boomers are leaving,
Yeah.
and the older generation's leaving, and the younger generation's coming in. And the reality is, that they haven't necessarily learned what those behaviors need to look like. And then on top of it, we throw a pandemic. So a lot of people are relearning. And for me, that's the secret sauce, if you will, to being successful, is being able to communicate, being able to, if there's any lesson that I could offer, that, whoever's listening to this today, is hitting your pause button and the art of listening. Sit back and listen more, talk less, and
Hmm.
really from your heart listen to what people are saying, and pay attention and be mindful. Create that mindful practice in your organization, within your family unit, within friendships. It's so vital that we just step back and we're listening, because when we do that, it really shows that kindness, that compassion, that, leading with empathy, that we all want to be doing. It allows us to do that more effectively. So when I look at communication, the number one rule for me is always talk less, listen more.
Yes, yeah, that's so beautiful. You're so right about that. Um, let's talk a little bit about struggles, because there are a lot of women, not only women, of course, but those are the people that we are talking to, that when something negative happens, or a struggle comes up, they say, okay, this is not for me, I cannot do this. I can imagine, just when you talk about the foundation for your brother, you must have been through a heartache, you must have had your really low days, and I'm sure you and I will have them in the future also. Are there three tips, three things that you do to overcome days like that, that could help a listener in saying, okay, my day started so bad, or I am in a really bad place in this moment? What could you offer them? Maybe three small tips.
So the very first thing that I would offer is get up, that we can be a victim, we can be victorious, we can have a good day, we can have a bad day. And I know that might seem really simple to a few people, and they might disagree with me as I'm saying it, but we truly do. We have that choice every single day to do good, to do wrong. We have the free will. So being conscious of that, and making those steps of saying, okay, things aren't going okay right now, but what can I do? We have such, you and I talked a little bit about this, Monique, before we came on. We have an incredible level of resilience. And when that, in that resilience, this unfounded power sometimes, and when you can tap into that, you can make anything happen. And I gotta say, like, I am the poster of that. We have so many people out there. I'm sure everybody listening, I'm sure yourself, can think of at least one other person that you go, oh my goodness, that person had so many hardships, and how did they come out of it? Because they decided to.
Yeah.
They decided that that was not the path that they were going to go, right? So
Hmm.
it's the resilience that we have, it's the choice that we make every single day. And for a third would probably be self love,
Yeah.
giving yourself a break. We're imperfect. We're here for a reason. Sometimes it takes almost a lifetime to figure that out. If you
Yeah.
find right, if you
Yeah.
figure it out early, that's wonderful. God bless you. But not everybody gets there. As we get there in our own time, and it's all divine timing and trusting that process. But when you do tap into your purpose, enjoy it, and don't try to dictate what it needs to look like, right? Just stand in it and stand in your truth. Be very self-aware and love yourself. When for those who do read this amazing book that I got to be part of, by Tracy Cook, um, I talk about no one's coming for you. And that might sound hard for some people, but no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to rise up yourself. And you're the captain. You're the captain of your ship.
Yeah.
So you're in charge.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the name of the foundation? So I can, people can maybe go check it out, see what they can do to help.
So it's Baby It's Cold Outside.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on Baby It's Cold Outside Charity.
I lost you again.
Yeah, that's
Baby,
perfect.
it's
That's perfect.
okay. Baby, it's cool. That's our charity. And what's the name of your brother that we can honor him? Could you hear what I said?
No, I lost you,
I
Monique.
said
Sorry.
what was the name of your brother that we can honor him?
His name was Bobby.
Bobby. Oh.
Yeah.
And how old did he? How
He was
old?
tw- he was 21. Sorry, he was 28 years old
Oh
when
no,
he
so
was
young.
murdered. Yeah, and it was a hate crime. So yeah,
Oh, baba, baba.
yeah.
Goosebumps. Okay. So, Pamela, we are at the end of this lovely conversation. I learned a lot from you. There are so many questions that I could ask you, but the time is limited. We can maybe do another one, another episode. Where can people, if they want, if they are looking for an HR in their company, or if they just want to chat to you to see what you can do for them, where can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me at Pamela@keyinstincts.com. That's my direct email. Or you can also go on to my website, which is Key Instincts.
Keyinstincts.com.
Yeah, and you can find us there. And there's a T in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's
I
okay.
see. No, I was too fast. Sorry. um, uh, keyinstincts.com, or directly to Pamela at keyinstincts.com, so that they can chat a little bit with you and see what you can do for them. Well, Pamela, I really would like to thank you for your time, for what you are doing for the world. You are one of the better persons, because you are really changing this world and inspiring other people, and that I thank you for. So I wish you all the best,
Thank you.
and good luck with the charity, but also with your company. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Monique. And everybody have a wonderful day or wonderful evening. And I'm here for you. Take care of
Thank you.
yourselves. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Take care. Well, wasn't she wonderful? Of course, I had goosebumps. I didn't know about her brother, and these are things that unfortunately are happening too much in the world. So I'm really very happy that Pamela has an organization to help people with this. So really, if you have questions about this, if something happened to you in your family, or you know people, then please send them to Pamela, because I'm sure that she can help or provide help or give you directions where you can go to best. Like she said, as if you are if you are in a business or you are thinking of starting a business, things will happen. You will have hurdles, you will have struggles. That is normal. That is what is called life. But the way you handle those struggles, that is going to determine where you end up. Like Jim Rohn said, we all get hit with the wind, but it's how you set your sail that determines in which direction you go. So you have the choice. Be resilient, is what Pamela said. Make a decision. It all depends on the decision. When you stand up in the morning and you hit your toe and you say, oh, this day is going to be a whole day like that, yes, then it will be that day. Or if you say, okay, I hit my toe and now I'm going to change the way I think about my day, then you can really change your day for the better. And of course, self-love. Love yourself first, because like Pamela said, nobody is coming to rescue you. You first have to do the work yourself. So I hope this episode help you in some way, or gave you inspiration, or some things that you said, okay, this I really can need for my life or for my business. If you did, then please put it in the comments. If you like this episode, or if you took something away from it, then give it a thumbs up or a love heart, so more people will see it. And if you see the replay, then please put hashtag replay in the comments so I can thank you in person. And of course, if you have questions for Pamela, you can or send her an email or put the questions in the comments, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. For now, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week for another episode of the Freedom Seekers Live TV. Bye for now.